Children, we need to leave. Now, she whispered urgently. But, Mama, why? Amaka asked, rubbing her sleepy eyes. No time to explain. Just trust me. Isak was a man of stature, both literally and figuratively. At 35, he was tall, handsome, and extremely wealthy. He was known throughout the city of Abuja for his extravagant lifestyle. He spent his nights in the company of other affluent men, indulging in the city's nightlife, and his days working tirelessly, giving himself little to no time for rest. One evening, as Isak was preparing for yet another night out, his phone rang. It was his mother, calling from their ancestral home in the village. She sounded both excited and a bit lonely as she spoke. My son, Christmas is just around the corner. It's been too long since you visited. Come home and spend the holidays with me. The mansion feels so empty with just the maids and me. Isak, feeling a pang of guilt, agreed to his mother's request. December came quickly, and he made the trip back to the village, looking forward to a bit of respite from his hectic life. Upon arriving, he was greeted warmly by his mother and her staffs. Among them was a new maid named Anene. She was strikingly beautiful, with an innocent and harmless demeanor that immediately caught Isak's attention. Over the next few days, they spent a lot of time talking and getting to know each other, though Isak always evaded questions about the source of his immense wealth. One evening, as they strolled through the gardens, Anene couldn't resist asking again, Isak, you never told me what you do for a living. How did you become so wealthy? Isak smiled and gently changed the subject. Let's talk about something else, Anene. The stars are beautiful tonight, aren't they? Despite her curiosity, Anene let it go. She was drawn to Isak and felt an inexplicable bond with him. A few days before his departure, Isak proposed to Anene. Though she had a strange feeling about him, she agreed, enchanted by his charm and the promise of a life of luxury. Isak and Anene returned to the city, and Anene was awestruck by the grandeur of his mansion. It was larger and more opulent than she had imagined. As she settled into her new home, the nagging feeling about Isak's wealth persisted. Isak, are you sure you only sell building materials? She asked one evening as they sat in the lavish living room. Yes, my dear, Isak replied smoothly. I've built a successful business over the years. That's all there is to it. Anene wanted to believe him, but something still felt off. Her doubts grew stronger when Isak showed her a room in the mansion and warned her never to enter it. This room contains delicate building materials. It's best if you stay out, he said. Anene nodded, agreeing to his request, but her curiosity was piqued. Months passed, and Anene gave birth to their first child, a beautiful girl named Happiness. They cherished her deeply, and their family seemed picture-perfect. As the years went by, Anene gave birth to 2 more children, another daughter, Amaka, and a son, Ezekiel. Their family was happy and prosperous, but Isak's wealth continued to grow at an astonishing rate. He left the house early every morning, claiming he was going to work, but Anene noticed that he never seemed to actually do any work. Instead, he spent his nights in clubs with his group of affluent friends. Time flew by. Happiness, their firstborn, turned 17. As her 18th birthday approached, Isak became increasingly anxious. Anene noticed the change in him but didn't understand the reason behind it. One night, as they celebrated Happiness's 18th birthday, a sense of foreboding hung in the air. Isak was unusually quiet, his eyes darting nervously around the room. Anene tried to brush off her unease, focusing on making the day special for her daughter. But that night, Tragedy struck. Happiness died mysteriously in her sleep, leaving the family devastated. Anene was inconsolable, and Isak's anxiety turned into a brooding silence. In the days following Happiness's death, Anene's suspicions about Isak's wealth and his mysterious room grew stronger. She noticed him spending more time in the forbidden room, always locking the door behind him. One evening, after a heated argument, Anene decided she could no longer ignore her instincts. She waited until Isak left for one of his late-night outings and then approached the forbidden room. With trembling hands, she picked the lock and pushed the door open. What she saw inside made her blood run cold. The room was painted red, adorned with strange, ominous objects that looked like they were meant for rituals. In the center of the room was an altar, stained with what appeared to be blood. Anene staggered back, horrified. The realization hit her like a blow. Isak was involved in something dark and sinister, something that had likely caused their daughter's death. Terrified and heartbroken, Anene knew she had to protect her remaining children. She quickly packed a few essentials and woke Amaka and Ezekiel. "Children, we need to leave now," she whispered urgently. "But, Mama, why?" Amaka asked, rubbing her sleepy eyes. "No time to explain. Just trust me," Anene replied, her voice trembling. They slipped out of the house and into the night, heading for the nearest bus station. Anene's heart pounded in her chest as she kept glancing over her shoulder, fearing Isak might return at any moment. They boarded a bus heading to a neighboring village, hoping to find refuge there. As they journeyed, Anene's mind raced with thoughts of what to do next. She couldn't go back to their village, fearing Isak's reach would extend there. They needed to disappear, to start anew somewhere far away. In the neighboring village, Anene found a small, modest house to rent. She used the little money she had taken from the mansion to pay for their immediate needs. She kept a low profile, avoiding drawing attention to herself and her children. As the days turned into weeks, Anene began to rebuild their lives. She found work as a seamstress, using her skills to earn a modest income. Amaka and Ezekiel enrolled in the local school, slowly adjusting to their new life. Despite the challenges, Anene felt a sense of relief. They were safe, far from the darkness that had overshadowed their previous life. However, she knew that their safety was fragile, and the fear of Isak finding them lingered in the back of her mind. One evening, as they sat together in their small living room, Amaka asked, "Mama, will we ever see Pop again?" Anene hesitated, choosing her words carefully. "Amaka, your father, he was not the man we thought he was. We need to stay away from him to protect ourselves." Ezekiel, still too young to fully understand, looked up at his mother with wide eyes. "But, Mama, I miss him." Anene's heart ached. "I know, my child. But sometimes, staying safe means making difficult choices." The family continued to live quietly, with Anene always watching for any sign of Isak. She knew he would not give up easily, but she was determined to keep her children safe, no matter the cost. Months turned into years, and the family gradually found a semblance of peace. However, the fear of Isak discovering their whereabouts never truly left Anene's mind. She remained vigilant, always on guard. One fateful day, as Anene was working in her shop, she overheard a conversation between two women. They spoke in hushed tones, but Anene caught a familiar name, Isak. "Did you hear about Isak?" one woman whispered. "They say he died mysteriously. Some say it was because he couldn't bring any more sacrifices." Anene's heart skipped a beat. She listened intently as the woman continued. "Yes, it's true. His wealth was tied to dark rituals. When he couldn't fulfill the demands, it led to his downfall. Anene felt a mix of relief and sadness. Isak's death meant that the immediate threat to her and her children was gone, but it also confirmed the dark truth about the man she had once loved. That evening, Anene sat down with Amaka and Ezekiel. She knew it was time to tell them the full story. "Children, there's something you need to know about your father," she began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "Isak was involved in something dark, something dangerous. That's why we had to leave." Amaka and Ezekiel listened in silence as Anene recounted the events that led to their escape. They were shocked and saddened, but they also understood the gravity of their situation. "Mama, are we safe now?" Ezekiel asked, his voice trembling. Anene nodded, hugging him tightly. "Yes, my child. We are safe now. Your father is gone, and we can finally move forward." The family began to rebuild their lives with a renewed sense of hope. Anene continued to work as a seamstress, and Amaka and Ezekiel excelled in their studies. They found solace in their new community and the support of their friends.